Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire.
Let me turn. We're going to have quite a conversation today. So I want to turn to this first part where we're talking about podcasting and talking about actionable steps. So you gave a whole bunch of reasons why, as to why you thought you could not start. So for people that are doubting themselves when it comes to podcasting, how can they start? What are some steps you would suggest in terms of getting started?
So for podcasting, and what I learned from some great people when I took a podcasting class, Nick Miller and John Bunn, that are on Instagram, and I highly suggest people to seek them out. They're the podcasters on Instagram. It was 5 sessions that they had on there, and the one thing that they always said is, with your idea that's always in your head, always have a niche. And I knew immediately what my niche was going to be. It was going to be fan based. It was going to be, sports, movies, entertainment, and travel. I already knew all that. And the second thing is, when you have all of these ideas, put it before you, write it down on paper, put a vision board together and everything else. There's nothing wrong with getting some magazines, cutting them out, gluing the pictures on there, putting them on a poster board and having that vision in front of you, or writing it down. That's very important when it comes to you wanting to do this, go to this podcast journey. The third thing is, and I should have put in number 1, bet on yourself. Believe in yourself that you can do this. Don't be intimidated by other people that are in the podcasting field or those that are in the media field that have been doing this for a very long time. I did that for years. It was a wasted amount of years. It was because of this pandemic that I was just like, I'm gonna go for it. And some amazing people that were in my corner that believed in me, besides my amazing family and my awesome husband. Also, when you have your niche, write down your core audience, who you want to gear your show to. Is it the people that like this particular team? Is it a group of people that love, television shows? Is it, people that like movies, that sort of thing, or whatever it is? Who is your age group? Who's your age range that you want your target audience? Who do you want them to be? And then, just do some practice sessions. Like before I come on the show, I always write out, and it's very important because your listeners will know if you are prepared. Your guests will know if you are prepared because you went and did the research, you did the work. You're not speaking off of a whim and off a cuff and everything else. And then that's where you will get sometimes your facts being wrong, or you're just, rattling a bunch of nonsense information. You'll disconnect from your listeners immediately. And you don't want to do that. And I listen to podcasts now more so than ever. I started listening to very few before the pandemic. I have about 8 to 10 of them that I listen to religiously. And it's not always sports based. I do got some sports ones that I listen to, but I listen to motivational podcasters, I listen to entertainment podcasters, I listen to, some music ones and everything else, just to get and pull some pieces out of there, because you can look at what you're doing or what you're getting ready to have your podcast be about. But it's also important to see what other podcasters, how they drive traffic, how they get the listeners, how they have the people watching them. What is it that they're doing that they're attracting that core audience to listen to them, to watch them? So I say YouTube and other media outlets is like a classroom. It's like a master class, because you can always learn something from every single podcaster or somebody in the media outlet. I'm a student of this. I've been doing this a little over a year and a half. I continue to be a student because I'm passionate about what I want to do. Last thing I want to say is, if you know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, if you have done podcasting and you're frustrated with it and you know that it is not for you, then don't force it upon yourself to continue it. It's okay to walk away from it and pursue something else that you're going to be absolutely amazing with. People have tried to, and I know some people, and I won't mention them, that try to force it upon themselves to keep going, and you can hear the enthusiasm and everything else just shift immediately, even without even looking at them, because, I always say that body language always tells on themselves, but the voice also is included in the body language. You can hear that the person is engaging their audience about the subject matter they're talking about. If they do not, then they will lose that audience very quickly, and they'll see the the views and the listens just dramatically drop. So if it's not for you, it's okay. Pursue something else that's going to make you happy and fulfilled.
I agree 100%. I think there are so many people that see, especially since the pandemic occurred, they see, oh, podcasting. And what people always do is point to the few examples of YouTubers or podcasters or live streamers that are really killing it in the space. And they think that's going to be them. Well, it could be you, but you can't just get in it for the money. I always tell people, it is not just about the money, because this is truly a labor of love.
It is. And it's
a lot of work. It is bloody work.
It is work. And another thing too, Dr. Tachi, that people need to know is you got to have a budget, because in order for your podcast to take off or where you want it to be, and you have all the bells and whistles and everything on your vision board and on your paper and everything else, and then you see the reality of how much it's going to cost and production and editing and everything else, then, you know, the air slowly leaks out of the balloon, right? So, you know, not trying to derail anybody from their dreams, but just make sure that, you know, you have a realistic mind of, okay, I want to pursue this, but come in and make sure that you have a budget, because you don't have a budget and you put everything together and everything flows. Yes, it does take time, but the results can go in where you do get that awesome, amazing sponsor and the sponsorships and everything else. And then that's where it will grow and it will evolve. And then you'll see the fruits of your labor. And then you'll see the monies come in and everything else. Is it going to happen overnight? No, it won't happen overnight.
And it could be a minimal budget. I think people think they have to have this sky-high production budget. And the truth is, when you're first starting out, you may not have that budget, right? You may know the pandemic did a lot to obliterate whatever little discretionary income you may have. Exactly. So it could be that you start out on Anchor, which is free, and then grow from using your phone and then grow from there, right? So your point is, have a budget, understand. And I think it's also about having a future budget and a future of what your show doing, right? So it doesn't mean what you can afford right now, working towards what you would like to have as your budget overall later, I think, is part of that. Would you agree?
I agree. Absolutely. Because of the fact you don't want to have that right now production money and that be it. Because there's things you get invited to. You may get invited for a red carpet event. You may get invited for a production thing on a set of whatever kind of movie, or invited to a sports event down the road. Are you going to have the funds for it and the necessary things to set up your travel, your hotel, and all of those things? Because 9 times out of 10, you are going to be the one that's responsible for putting all of that together. It's not going to be just these people, because XYZ company or blah, blah, blah may have heard you on the podcast show, but they don't know all about you, and they don't see that long list of resume. Because people, let's be real, let's be honest, they look at numbers, they look at, you know, the years that you've been doing this and so forth. So, you know, and they see if you're a big name in the media world and everything else. So 9 times out of 10, if you're not and you don't have all that, they're going to be like, okay, well, we could take care of this. Well, we need you to take care of this. So if you're going to have all that money down the road, your savings and so forth of your business, if you're going to have all that, make sure you have all that available, so that you'll be, you have that opportunity to shine and locate and shine and put your brand on the map for when you're invited to an event down the road. Absolutely.
When you emotionally broke, settled in our knowledge and conversations.